Hey guys, and welcome to Arden Sports, and here I am with my Week 3 NFL season predictions. Man, was Week 2 a crazy week. So I ended up only getting 2 games wrong last week. I mispredicted the Giants to beat the Bears, and I mispredicted the Saints to beat the Raiders. I'll be honest, I think the main reason I got the Giants game wrong was because of all the injuries they suffered. And boy, did they suffer a lot. So let me first off catch you guys up on the competition between your boy Hobo, Johnny Talk Sports, and myself. So we have your boy Hobo, who is 19-13 after 2 weeks. Not terrible at all, considering he was 8-8 after week 1. And Johnny Talk Sports and myself are actually tied at 22-10. So the way it worked, if you guys don't watch Johnny Talk Sports, or even your boy Hobo for that matter, is Johnny and I predicted the Cleveland-Cincinnati game differently, and every other game the same. Literally, we didn't talk about it. I put my video out first, and he put his video out, so maybe he picked all my guys? I don't know. Or all my teams, rather? I don't know. But, obviously, I'm kidding. So, we had literally every other game predicted the exact same. And it was definitely interesting to say the least. But I ended up getting the Cleveland game right. So, therefore, I tied him going into Sunday. So, no matter what the outcome was for the rest of the games, we were going to be tied at the end of the week. So, we are both tied, like I said, at 22-10. So, we're 3 games ahead of your boy Hobo. So, there were quite a bit of injuries in week 2. And the 49ers definitely got hit the hardest as far as amount. But I think the Giants may have gotten hit hardest due to talent. So the 49ers lost Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas, for the rest of the year. Nick Bosa is with a torn ACL, and as of the report that I'm reading, they're not sure exactly what Thomas's is. But they do believe that it is serious. Jimmy Garoppolo has a high ankle sprain, and Nick Mullins was under center, and then Raheem Mostert it left early with his knee. Tevin Coleman is also expected to miss multiple weeks with a knee injury as well, but I believe that was actually after week 1. So the biggest name to go down was Saquon Barkley. He had a knee injury and underwent x-rays, and it revealed that he did in fact tear his ACL and will be out for the year. Sterling Shepard also left the game. He was ruled out due to a toe injury. Tyrod Taylor sat out due to a chest injury, which led to Justin Herbert playing for the Chargers, and actually didn't do terrible. They almost won the game against the Chiefs until the Chiefs came back at the last possible minute. And then then obviously I went to OT, but yeah. The Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey was listed as questionable to return Carolina's loss to the Bucks due to a hamstring injury, but is now expected he'll miss more than a month with what is being described as an ankle injury. Sorry guys, I can't talk tonight. Colts wide receiver Paris Campbell was carted off the field in the first quarter of Indy's matchup with the Vikings. Literally, he lasted like one play. It was an MCL injury at first, but then it was reported on Monday that he was the 3rd player to tear his ACL and miss the rest of the season. Devontae Adams suffered a hamstring injury that required further testing on Monday. Rams rookie running back Cam Akers was knocked out of the game against the Eagles with a rib injury. Broncos quarterback Drew Lock was ruled out for the remainder of Denver's matchup with the Steelers after suffering a right shoulder injury that forced him into the locker room. He sustained a hit the 7:42 remaining in the first quarter, and they also lost number 1 wide receiver Courtland Sutton with a knee-leg cramping for the rest of the game. The Dolphins lost Byron Jones due to a groin injury. He is doubtful to play week 3. So those are just a few of the injuries. That's a lot of them, but it's absolutely crazy. Just how many injuries there were in week 2, and how many ACLs got torn in week 2. But nevertheless, we are moving on to week number 3 of the NFL season, and we're kicking it off at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Dolphins rolling into Jacksonville TIAA Bank Field to face off against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Gardner Minshew and Ryan Fitzpatrick is the projected QB matchup. So Tua Tagovailoa is still not getting the start or any playing time for that matter. But Fitzmagic has not been magic this year. I expect James Robinson for Jacksonville to have actually a really good game. Mike Gesicki of the Dolphins will probably have a decent game. I'm not expecting too much, but I'm expecting Gardner Minshew and the Jaguars to win this game over the Dolphins Thursday night. Now moving on to 1 p.m. Sunday, we have the Chicago Bears rolling into Mercedes-Benz Stadium to face off against the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan doing not the greatest to start the season. Julio Jones also getting off to a little bit of a slow start. But again, a lot of these teams did not have training camp. In fact, I don't think any of these teams had training camp. So I'm not surprised that a lot of the core players of the league are off to a slow start. I do expect them to get it going, but for the time being, it's just off to a slow start, and we will have to see what happens and when, as far as when these teams really get going. So with that being said, though, we have the 2-0 Chicago Bears facing off against the 0-2 Atlanta Falcons. I didn't think that Mitch Trubisky could beat Daniel Jones, but he did. However, I really do not think Mitch Trubisky can beat Matt Ryan, so I am going to take the Falcons in this matchup, finally getting their first win of the season. Next up, 1 p.m. on Fox, we have the 2-0 LA Rams going into Bills Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, to face off against the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is just an absolute animal this season. He's already passed for 729 yards in 2 games. 57 for 81, 6 touchdowns. Malcolm Brown has been doing well for the Rams. 29 carries on 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Stephon Diggs got his first touchdown reception as a Buffalo Bill last week. Quite the play to watch if I do say so myself. I got to take Buffalo in this game. It's going to be a really close game, probably one of the closest games of the week. But I got to take Buffalo. And that's coming from a New England fan. The 1-1 Washington football team roll into the Dog Pound to face off against the Cleveland Browns, also 1-1. Baker Mayfield has been okay to start the season, 37 of 62, 408 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Nick Chubb has been doing well, while Terry McLaurin of the Washington football team, 12 receptions on 186 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty solid, I gotta say. I am going to take Cleveland in this game. I think the main reason I'm taking Cleveland, honestly, is the fact that they are the home team. Washington, just as a franchise, has proven not to be the best on the road, especially when they have such a young core of players, which they do currently. So I am, in fact, going to take the Cleveland Browns to win this game. Next up, we have the 2-0 Tennessee Titans rolling into Minnesota at US Bank Stadium to face off against the Minnesota Vikings. Ryan Tannehill has been doing pretty solid to start the year. Not one of his best seasons, but pretty solid. Derrick Henry, 56 carries for an even 200 yards, so not the greatest. It's averaging a little bit more than 4 yards a carry. And Adam Thielen from Minnesota, 9 receptions on 141 yards, and 2 of those receptions have been touchdowns. So Adam Thielen has been having a pretty solid season for having a rather lackluster QB. That is also, like I said, at 1 p.m. I can't pick Kirk Cousins over Ryan Tannehill. I just can't. I know I'm kind of going off of QBs here for almost all of these things, or all these predictions, but with that being said, I got to take Ryan Tannehill and Tennessee Titans. They're just, in my opinion, the better overall all-around team. So Tennessee Titans over Minnesota Vikings. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, who are 2-0, kind of surprisingly, if you ask me. Rolling into Gillette Stadium to face off against Cam Newton and the New England Patriots. Cam Newton is 45 for 63, 552 yards and a touchdown. Also has, I believe, 2 rushing touchdowns. Josh Jacobs for Las Vegas, 52 carries, 181 yards, 3 touchdowns. Respectable, not great, but respectable. And Julian Edelman, 13 receptions for 236 yards. Those are the players to watch for this game against the Raiders, or between the Raiders and the Patriots, rather. I feel this game is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people suspect. Just the fact that the Raiders are kind of coming out of nowhere, and Cam Newton is still trying to get used to his new team, coming off a loss to the Seattle Seahawks just last week. But I am going to say that Cam Newton gets this game, gets it going, and wins the game against the Raiders. So we will take the Patriots over the Raiders. Next up at MetLife Stadium, we have the San Francisco 49ers rolling in to face off against the New York Football Giants. Daniel Jones having a pretty solid season, his second full season? Or is it still his first full? Is it his first full? No, I think it's his, I don't remember. I'm not with it tonight, guys. But Daniel Jones doing pretty solid, 51 of 81, 520 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's pretty nice for him. Darius Slayton, now one of the upper wide receivers for the Giants, being that Sterling Shepard is probably going to be out another week. 9 receptions, 135 yards for 2 touchdowns. That's pretty nice. However, whether it's Garoppolo or whether it's Nick Myers, I cannot see Daniel Jones getting this done with missing 2 of his key players, one of his key players being out the rest of the year. So we're going to take the San Francisco 49ers over the New York Giants in this game. Next up, the 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals roll into Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia to face off against the 0-2 Eagles. Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz. Let's put it that way. Joe Burrow has also not been off to the best start of this season. Obviously, it's his first season in the NFL, and he's getting the start right away, which, I mean, pays no surprise to me there. With that being said, Joe Mixon has actually been doing rather solid this year. 35 carries for 115 yards, and Dallas Goedert, 12 receptions, 130 yards, 1 touchdown. So, boy. I'm torn on this one. I'm actually torn on this one. Because Carson Wentz, to me, is not the QB that everyone thinks he is. Joe Burrow is also not the QB that everyone thinks he is. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I feel it deep in my soul. This is going to be a very low-scoring game. I project no more than 35 combined points. I'm going to give it to Philadelphia. Next up, we have Deshaun Watson and the 0-2 Houston Texans rolling into Heinz Field to face off against Ben Roethlisberger and the 2-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. 1 p.m. CBS. Ben Roethlisberger. What can we say about Mr. Roethlisberger? Well, he is 50 for 73, 540 yards and 5 touchdowns. So 1/10 of his passes have been touchdowns this season. Benny Snell Jr. for Pittsburgh, 22 carries on 118 yards. That's pretty nice. And Deontay Johnson, 14 receptions, 149 yards, 1 touchdown. I would say watch out for Deontay Johnson against that Houston defense. He could be a pretty decent weapon, along with, obviously, Juju. But as much as I feel that Houston could win this game, that Houston won't go 0-3, that Deshaun Watson will not be the starting QB of an 0-3 football team, I can't help but think that he will be the QB of an 0-3 football team. That Deshaun Watson isn't as elite this year as people think he is. Maybe it's just a slow start, like I mentioned, of the no training camp. We'll see. But I am going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game. Next up, we have the New York Jets going to Lucas Oil Stadium face off against the Colts. No question, I'm taking the Colts in this game. Moving on. Panthers and Jaguars. Panthers and Jaguars. How about the Panthers and the Chargers? Teddy Bridgewater versus it's not gonna be Tyrod Taylor. I think it's gonna be oh my God, I already forgot his name. Justin Herbert again. I don't believe Tyrod's going to start just due to the whole chest thing. Teddy Bridgewater's been okay this season. 55 and 76, 636 yards, and 1 touchdown. Austin Eckler has been absolutely ungodly. At least he was in the game just this past week. And Robbie Anderson's been decent as well for Carolina. So this game is going to be another closer game. I'm not going to say it's going to be close, but it's going to be closer. I am going to give this to the LA Chargers, though. Next up, we have Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rolling into Mile High to face off against the Denver Broncos. And I don't have a whole lot to say on this game. I'm taking Tampa Bay. No questions asked. Next up, we have Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions going up against Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I am actually, believe it or not, saying that Kyler Murray is a player to watch for rushing, not for passing. He is going to be a player to watch this week for rushing yards, for rushing attempts, for rushing touchdowns. He has 21 carries for 158 yards and 3 touchdowns rushing. Kyler Murray is a big part of the reason why that team is 2-0, along with Chandler Jones and Pat Peterson on the defensive end. And let's not forget to mention, they have DeAndre fucking Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins, 22 receptions, 219 yards, only 1 touchdown. Matthew Stafford, 44 for 75, 541 yards, and also 3 touchdowns. State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. I am projecting the Arizona Cardinals to go 3-0 on Sunday. 4:25 on Fox, we have the Dallas Cowboys led by Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott facing off against the Seattle Seahawks that are 2-0. They're going to be at CenturyLink Field in Seattle, Washington. Russell Wilson was just absolutely ungodly on Sunday night against the New England Patriots, absolutely throwing a complete dime of a game. And I cannot fathom anyone to pick Dak Prescott over Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is easily putting up an MVP season. I know it's only 2 weeks in, but he is showing that he can be that MVP QB again. So I am, in fact, going to take Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks to defeat Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Next up, we have probably one of the most anticipated matchups of the season, besides Drew Brees and Tom Brady, that is. And that is Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees. Aaron Rodgers is 50 for 74, 604 yards, 6 touchdowns on the season. Aaron Jones, 34 carries, 234 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Devontae Adams, should he play due to the hamstring injury, 17 receptions for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns. Holy crap. That is just absolutely insane. So the Packers are obviously 2-0. They're going to be at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. I almost forgot to mention that. So they're going to be in New Orleans. 1-1 New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees has been doing pretty well for the season. Michael Thomas was obviously out last week. They're not sure if he's going to be playing this week yet or not. Just due to the simple fact of possibly no Michael Thomas. Emmanuel Sanders has been filling in quite well in his void. With that being said, it will be kept close due to the efforts of Emmanuel Sanders. But I do, in fact, have the Green Bay Packers maybe in a little bit of an upset, winning the game in New Orleans against the Saints. And Monday night, what is with all these elite matchup QBs? We have Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs going up against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Orioles at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. I am just absolutely jonesing for this game. I am excited. I'm ready for this game. Holy crap. I don't think you guys just understand how excited I am to see Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson go up against each other. Pat Mahomes is 51 for 79 with 513 yards and 5 touchdowns already this season. Clyde Edwards has 35 carries for 176 yards and a touchdown, and Tyreek Hill has 10 receptions for 145 yards, so 14.5 yard average, and 2 touchdowns. This game is going to be just a lightning show. I actually really don't know who to pick in this game. This game quite possibly has the potential to be the highest scoring game yet this season. This is actually really tough. I'm going to give this game to Baltimore. I'm going out on a limb. I feel like Lamar Jackson can get it done. The Baltimore defense is, in my mind, just a notch better than Kansas City. So I think that Baltimore's defense will be able to hold Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, along with Clyde Edwards, better than Kansas City can hold Pat Mahomes. Or better than Kansas City can hold... Wow. Better than Kansas City can hold Lamar Jackson. So, anyway, guys, that is going to be it for me. Be sure to check out Johnny Talk Sports Predictions, as well as your boy Hobo's Predictions. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. It is the #1 way to help out a channel. And I'll be seeing you guys with Week 4. I'll be talking to you guys later. Peace. I'm out.
Team's going to be summoned on 4th down.
Well, they got off the field on 3rd down. An excellent job, an excellent defensive series. We always talk about adjustments, and usually only at halftime. But the best teams adjust series to series. And on that series, they adjusted so well that they got the job done in fine style.
The Red Sea parts, and there he goes. Touchdown, New Orleans. That is something you almost never see, a punt return better than 100 yards from one end zone to the other, as his guys continue to put this